So New Year comes and goes and New Year's resolutions take different forms, but this year I wanted to try things a bit differently. And here's the plan. For each month of this year I have different themes, and for the month of January the theme was more reading and especially more fiction. There's a snowstorm out here and I don't know why, but I am out here too. So let's go back inside. Alright. Japanese fiction is on another level, I realize. I love the author's work in Convenience Store Woman and I was really excited to read this one. I thought this book will be very similar to The Convenience Store Woman, and it was in many ways, but it was also very different. The book is about a girl who is growing up and finding it difficult to be one among the society, and to her understanding the society is a factory and she is being used as a tool in the factory. And on top of that, she, along with some other characters in the book, believe that they're not a part of Earth, they're not Earthlings, but rather from another planet. I still haven't quite figured out how to pronounce it, so I'm just gonna put the name somewhere on the screen. It was honestly a really interesting read. I wasn't expecting the author to hit me with that kind of a plot, and at times in the beginning I was like, you know what, maybe this book is not for me, but as I kept reading, this was actually really interesting. At first glance, the book might seem like it's about aliens and Earth and them trying to fit in and questioning the ways and things like that. But the book has much deeper insights. It looks into society and how it controls people's lives in a very subtle but drastic manner. How different individuals at different stages of their life are supposed to do different things and meet certain expectations and criterias, which are essentially standards placed by the society. And also what happens to those who don't meet those expectations. The book also discusses what exactly does it mean to be human, and also questions a lot of conventions. And it was a really good read. You should look at the reader's discretion, trigger warnings and things like that though, but it's a good read. Now this is a book I had to read in one sitting because I knew if I put it down I won't have the mental tenacity to pick it back up, because this was pretty emotional and I'm pretty glad I read it. So I have read a couple of other Mitch Albom books, like Tuesdays with Maury, one of my favorites, Timekeeper, and 5 People You Met in Heaven, and I wanted to read this one, and I got this one in my grab and go, and I was really excited. The book is the author's memoir about Chica, a little girl born in Haiti and had to spend her life at an orphanage because her mom died from her brother's birth. Mitch Albom and his wife care for these kids at this orphanage, and then they find out that Chica is actually very special. And in the first chapter itself, the author tells you that Chica died last spring. So I was like, man. So at the age of 5, Chica gets diagnosed with this brain tumor, which is very rare, and the doctors at Haiti tells them that this disease will get no help at Haiti. And then Chica goes through different types of treatments, trying to figure out a way how to fix this, and the whole book is written as if he is having this conversation with Chica. So this is really special, and he keeps telling her own story that's really interesting. This book I took from my brother. I borrowed it because it has this really beautiful cover and it got really beautiful illustrations. Apart from that, I wasn't really expecting much from this book, but it actually delivered way more than what I expected. The book's about this little dog named Oz who loses his bark because of animal abuse that he faced in his initial years as a family picked him up. Then this young boy Patrick comes in and adopts this dog off of a shelter and works with this dog until the dog gets his bark back. And I thought the story would end at that point, but no. It doesn't. The story goes on to talk about Patrick and the struggles that Patrick is facing in his life because of the separation of his parents. And now Patrick loses his bark and it's upon the dog to bring the bark back, which was a really interesting part. And the book doesn't stop there either. The book also discusses the struggles the mother faces as she goes through divorce and things like that. So it's a pretty deep book for a children's story. I really liked it. And as dog mom, this story immediately got me hooked because the whole story is told from the perspective of the dog, the puppy, and that was just brilliant. Now this is a story of a mother and son fleeing from Mexico to build a new and hopefully safer life in America because of a cartel murdering 16 members of her family, including her husband. In their journey, they meet a lot of people who are trying to reach United States, all with different stories attached to them. And no one knows what they're running to either. It talks about the difficulties they endure in their journey and how they overcome it. It has really likable characters, and I would say even the villain, at some point you would like his character traits as well. It is a really nice book that not only discusses the lives of undocumented people in the United States, but it also shows an unbreakable relationship of a mother and son. I highly recommend. Now this book mainly revolves around David Starr Jordan, who is a taxonomist who had the obsession for bringing order to the natural world. He is credited to discovering nearly 1/5 of all the fishes we know, and he accomplished this by collecting and saving up specimens, but these specimens were repeatedly demolished twice by natural causes like an earthquake once and a lightning strike another time. And these 2 times he was faced with in a situation where all of the species that he had identified became into a sort of chaotic mush. But he did not give up the first time and certainly did not the second time. He held on to his perseverance and went on about fixing and rebuilding his collection. But that's not it. The author does not stop at the good sides of this man. She also discusses how he might be responsible for the poisoning and death of the founding mother of Stanford University, and also his role in the creation of an idea that is eugenics and how he went on about supporting it. And eugenics is essentially where you kill and eliminate people who might not be considered fit. The author also shares her experiences from her life, which makes this book even more dynamic. And her writing style and way of storytelling is so flawless, you get hooked from the moment you start reading it. There are some more books that I read this month, and I would like to share that, but the time doesn't allow, so I'm just gonna kind of show you an overview of all of them. So that's it from me. Let me know in the comments which book you read this month, and if you have read any of the books I mentioned right here. You can also tag along my reading journey by being friends on Goodreads. Alrighty, I'll catch you all later.